football universe, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, where Bear Bryant stands watch over all things Crimson, including A.J. McCarron, head coach Nick Saban, outstanding wide receiver Amari Cooper, and talented linebacker C.J. Mosley. This is a team embarking on a quest for immortality as they look for their 4th title in 5 years and 3rd in a row. The quest begins today at the A-Day game. It's the SEC on ESPN. A good look at Bryant-Denny Stadium on a sun-soaked Saturday afternoon in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Just 4 months removed from hoisting their 15th national championship, the Alabama Crimson Tide wrap up spring football with their annual A-Day game. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dave Neal. You know this guy, Todd Blackman. So glad you could be with us. And obviously, it's just been 4 months. But people are still talking. They want another one. They can't get enough here at Alabama of national championships. But as we wrap up this spring practice, what do you make of Alabama and their quest here in 2013?
Well, first of all, let me say this. They've got a legitimate shot to win a 3rd consecutive national championship. You know, it's interesting, and Nick Saban talked to us yesterday about this. No matter how many guys you have back that were a part of last year or the last 2 years' championship teams, every team has to build their own identity, and that's what spring football is about. That's what August camp is about. But make no mistake, this team has recruited well over the last several years. They've got talent in place. They just have to have some guys that were role players the last 2 years, step up and be key contributors this year, but they should be right in the hunt again.
Well, certainly one of the guys that everybody's focused on is their quarterback, A.J. McCarron. He's played a lot of snaps, won a couple of national titles. What do we expect from him, not just today, but down the road as a leader, a senior quarterback?
I've really enjoyed watching A.J. develop as a quarterback. I saw him his first start on the road at Penn State, and he went from being a guy who they asked to just not lose games, not make mistakes, play to the defense, to being a guy that could make big plays in critical situations, to the last couple championship games, being a guy who could dominate and control a football game. I think we'll still see the same efficient quarterback in A.J. McCarron, but a more vocal leader, not just in the offensive huddle, but with the entire football team.
All right, well, there are some issues defensively for Alabama. We'll talk about those as this game unfolds over the next couple of hours. But right now, let's head down to the sidelines and check in with our own Maria Taylor.
Coach, you said that every year is about reinvention. What can this squad do in the spring game to prove to you they know how to handle the success of winning back-to-back national titles?
Well, I think the thing we're looking for is guys to be able to pay attention to details so that they can do their job. I think so many young players, when you've had so much success, they kind of think they're just going to inherit it and not really think that they have to go earn it. So what I'm looking for is guys that are willing to go out there and play with the kind of intangibles that's going to give them a chance to earn the standard that we need to play at to continue to be a good team.
Well, after conducting a full spring of practice, which position group are you most concerned with and will be keying in on during today's game?
Well, you know, we've got some young guys playing in the secondary, so it'll be interesting to see how they do. We got some guys hurt there, so there'll be some guys that come back. But the offensive line, you know, we got 3 or 4 starters out on defense, so it'll be interesting to see how some of those guys that are in their place actually perform.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
All right, Maria, thank you very much. We'll be checking in with you all afternoon. Some interviews with not only some Alabama players, but some past players as well. And we'll also visit with Coach Saban throughout the afternoon as well. Some impact players to keep an eye on today, starting for this white team, Amari Cooper. And we'll talk more about him. But, Todd, he was certainly a hot topic in our meetings yesterday.
Well, everybody was singing his praises, and he was as good as there was as a playmaker down the stretch of the season last year, and apparently he's even better at this point.
Defensively, of course, the coach mentioned there are some injuries defensively, but nonetheless, there are some guys here that will certainly have an impact today. Clinton Dix. Vinny Sunseri switches positions somewhat from a nickel back to a safety, and that could be a big bonus for Alabama.
I think safety is going to be a real strength for this defense, and that's critical because of how much they like to change and communicate and different looks defensively. The safeties have a big part of that to play.
There is a look at Sunseri. Pagan, we saw him a moment ago on that list. He's a guy that hadn't had exactly the best of spring practices. They're hoping he can get his motor going, and today would be a good time for that to happen for the defensive end. So we are just about set here. We're going to have a crowd somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 to 65,000. Yeah. Not surprising.
Well, you know, it was a little cool here yesterday. We were here, and the weather is absolutely perfect today. So I'm sure there were a lot of people that weren't sure if they were going to come if it wasn't a beautiful day. They're here today.
Well, we are just about set. Adam Griffith, the freshman out of Calhoun, Georgia, will kick it away to Christian Jones. This is what they call a tag-off play, and they'll return it. And the ball will be placed at the 30-yard line. Going through the motions on the kick game. As far as punch goes, no rush. Fair catch, field goals, no rush. There will be a little bit of a push in the middle. Well, here is A.J. McCarron. He will be without his best friend and center Barrett Jones this upcoming season. But, yeah, this is his offense, and, boy, does he have a lot of weapons.
He really does. I mean, you know, at first glance, this offense will probably not be as dominant offensive line-wise as they were a year ago, the best in college football. But from a skill standpoint, wide receiver, better, I think, this year.
So the white team will have the football first. TJ Yeldon will get the carry off the left side, and there's a first down out over the 40. But a flag comes in back at the line of scrimmage on the far side. Vinny Sunseri pushes him out of bounds on that far side. Tom Ritter, our referee today. And already Coach Saban marking out instructions to the near sideline.
You know, some people would wonder, with A.J. McCarron.
10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay first down.
They got Christian Jones, one of the receivers, blocking outside for a hold. But even with the receivers and an experienced quarterback, the identity of this Alabama football team has been to run and establish the ground game and throw off of that. And I don't see them changing that formula.
McCarron, good throw to the man who just penalized for a hold. Christian Jones with that catch. Loose football. Let's see if the Crimson came away with the pigskin, but it looks as though it'll be second down. So already a penalty and a loose football in the first two plays.
As good defenses are taught to do, C.J. Mosley in there ripping the ball out when he was stood up by another player. It's not the first guy that rips that ball. It's usually the second or third guy that gets to the ball carrier.
Bill McCarron out of the shotgun again. Steps up in the pocket, hits Yeldon. A couple of nice moves by TJ out over the 35. He'll take it to the 37. That's a gain of about 12. Clinton Dix comes up to make the play.
C.J. Mosley is going to be an every down player this year. I mean, he is a guy who, over the last 2 years, has got a great nose for the football, an instinctive player, has great speed and quickness. Not as big of an inside linebacker as they're used to having here at Alabama, but he makes up for it with quickness, instincts, and great intelligence of the defense.
Well, he led the team in tackles with 107, a Butkus Award finalist last year, an All-American. Certainly he talked to us about the reason he came back, and that was for a championship. Pass caught near side. Kenny Bell on the reception. Kenny Bell coming off a broken leg, suffered in the regular season finale against Auburn, picks up 23.
Well, Kirby Smart just came halfway out on the field to yell at his defense. Even though A.J. McCarron's wearing a black shirt, which means you can't tackle him, that doesn't mean you can't rush him and get some pressure on him. He had way too much time to survey the defense and come to an outlet receiver for the first down.
So the white offense has pushed the ball down to the Crimson 40-yard line. Fresh set of downs for A.J. McCarron and company as these teams will battle for steak and potatoes or hot dogs and baked beans. McCarron going to the end zone, and the pass is caught by Kenny Bell. 40-yard completion. And the white team looking like they might have the medium rare steak tonight.
Well, and this is kind of unfair by A.J. McCarron because he went against Cyrus Jones, who was a running back that they moved to defensive back. This year, he's going to be a decent player, but he got lost in coverage that time, couldn't find the football, and Kenny Bell was able to spot it, cut in front of the defender, and make the touchdown reception.
So Cade Foster will attempt the point after, and he will split the uprights. So I'd say a pretty good
job,
drive
Bo.
for A.J. McCarron.
Good job. Let's go.
He goes 4 for 4, 80 yards and a touchdown. White team leads at 7-zip. White leads at 7-0 over Crimson. You look at Cyrus Jones, an offensive player that's been moved over to defense this spring, and they've done that with a couple of guys. One of them, D. Hart, is one of those guys. Christian Jones also. Yeah. What's the purpose of trying to move those guys around?
Well, that's part of the purpose of spring. You know, cornerback is an area where they've had great players, but they've left after their junior year and become first-round draft picks, and they keep recruiting guys, but they needed to find another guy. So they took a couple really good athletes and tried him on defense, and Cyrus Jones is the one guy that stayed over there. And Nick Saban thinks he's going to be a pretty good player, but he's still trying to find his way. You take a look at what happened. Now, he's going to be right here, and he's actually going to leave this area because there's no receiver and come to help. He's in a good position to help on Kenny Bell, but he just couldn't find the football. And again, he's learning how to play a new position. See, he's in perfect position to make a play, just couldn't find the football, and Kenny Bell came down with it.
So now it's what they call the second team offense against the first team defense. And Blake Sims, the quarterback, will scramble his way for about 8.5, maybe 9 yards. And Sims, the junior out of Gainesville, Georgia, last year threw just 10 passes, 77 yards, no TDs, no interceptions, but didn't get a whole lot of work as A.J. McCarron handled most of the snaps.
I think the real challenge for Blake Sims will be to be his development as a passer, because obviously the offense with A.J. McCarron is not going to feature a scrambling running quarterback. I don't think they're going to have a completely different offense for Sims, but he does give you that dimension as a runner, as we saw on first down.
Slip in the backfield. Kenyon Drake, the sophomore out of Powder Springs, Georgia, gets that handoff and got a yard before he hit the deck.
Key for this Alabama defense, they've got big bodies. It's not maybe the fastest defense that you see in the SEC, but they are really thick in their front seven, and they're very difficult to run against, particularly inside between the tackles.
Handoff goes left side. Again, Drake hit by Ryan Anderson. Gain of 2. That should be good enough for the first down.
Take a look at this replay here. Again, they got big guys up front that absorb the blocks, and that frees up the linebackers to kind of roam around and make the plays. Ryan Anderson right in there to make a play for a short game, but enough for a first down for the Crimson team.
Will not see Trey DePriest today. An outstanding linebacker. Has a broken foot. 6'2", 245-pounder. Sims will just loft it up, and this ball will be intercepted. Nick Perry running back to the 20. Nick Perry they will actually spot him back at the 12, maybe 13-yard line. But Nick Perry with the pick as Blake Sims just heaved it up into the air.
Yeah. Well, there was pressure. Ryan Anderson, who made the play on the run a play ago, is the guy who's going to get pressure on the quarterback. And Blake Sims doesn't make a bad decision to throw the ball away, but if you're going to throw it away, you have to throw it out of the field of play. And I'm sure that's what Nick Saban and Doug Nussmeier are going to tell him right now. If you're going to throw it away and save the down, then at least throw it out of play where nobody can catch it.
Yeah, not to mention it was first down.
Yeah. Live to play another down.
It'll be first down and 10 from about the 12-yard line, and McCarron back on the field out of that pistol formation. Hands it to Yeldon off the left side, and he'll take it inside the 10 to about the 8.5-yard line. Give him 4.
Dave, I want to just get back to a point about why, even though A.J. McCarron has experience and you have a wealth of wide receiver talent at Alabama, you may not see a wholesale change in the offense, because in this offense where A.J. McCarron has been so efficient and effective, particularly throwing the football down the field, has been on the play-action passes. You know, you throw when the defense expects you to run, and that opens up big gaps off of play action for plays down the field.
There is a ton of talent at wide receiver. for Alabama, perhaps the most they've ever had here in Tuscaloosa. Handoff left side goes to Yeldon. But, I mean, you go down the list. Cooper, Christian Jones, DeAndrew White, Chris Black, Kenny Bell, the freshman Raheem Falcons has made a name for himself. I mean, those are all game-changer type guys.
And they've got a tight end that they're really high on in O.J. Howard, one of the 8 early enrollee freshmen who they think has a chance to really be a playmaker, a dynamic guy at the tight end position. So you're right. And then that guy right there, Amari Cooper, was scary good at the end of last season, and apparently this year even more consistent in his fundamentals and very difficult to cover.
Everybody in the room we talked to, and there were 5 different people who came through, their eyes lit up when we talked about Cooper, as McCarron is tagged back at the, well, spotted back at the 12.5-yard line. Big Ed Stinson, the defensive end, the senior out of Homestead, Florida, got his hand on the quarterback.
But again, that's what I think Kirby Smart was saying in that first possession. Hey, even though AJ's got a black shirt on and we can't tackle him, we can at least get in his face and disrupt and not just let him have a clear vision down the field. And they were able to come up with the sack on that 3rd down play.
Well, a 29-yard field goal for Cade Foster coming up, 13 out of 27 in his career. Last year was 4 out of 9 as he split the duties with Jeremy Shelley.
You know what's cool for Cade Foster? For the last couple years, sharing the kicking duties with Shelley, he's only had to kick the long kicks. He finally gets to try normal attempts that are makeable. Good for Cade Foster.
The stars of tomorrow will be on hand at the NFL Draft. The stars of tomorrow for the Crimson Tide on display today. The white team off to a good start. First team offense on the white. Second team defense for the Crimson. And so far, A.J. McCarron and company have put a 10 spot on the board. Cade Foster will kick it away. It's funny, we were just kind of chuckling, and I don't think Cade's chuckling, but I mean, the poor guy, every time he got run out there was trying a 50-yarder.
Yeah, go get him, kid.
He's actually 3 out of 5 beyond 50 yards last year. That ball was bobbled in the end zone, taken out of there by Jones, and they'll put the ball at the 30-yard line. Let's go downstairs, visit with Maria Taylor once again. Hey, Maria.
Hey guys, I was in Kirby Smart's huddle with his defense. He was proud that his team only gave up the field goal, but still wants his team to do a better job jamming up the receivers at the line of scrimmage. Feels like they're not doing a good job there, getting hands on people, and was also talking to his secondary about their vision in the huddle.
Well, that secondary is an issue, and Coach Saban talked at the beginning about there are some guys that will be in there to help them out, but it's been a concern, especially that corner spot. Geno Smith, the sophomore out of Atlanta. John Fulton a little banged up, but that has been a real focal point. That handoff goes to Drake off the left side. He'll move the pile for about 5 yards.
Well, they recruited 3 corners also that will be here in the fall. Obviously a position of need, but it's not an easy defense to play in. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Nick Saban and Kirby Smart, their system is complex as any in college football. And Coach Saban has hands-on coaching duties with the defensive backs. I mean, that's his specialty. That was his forte when he was a coordinator, when he was a position coach. And so they coach him up, but they ask a lot of those guys. And again, that's what spring football is about. I thought it was interesting. Nick Saban said, you know, our goal, we want to teach 22 guys our defense and what to do. So in the fall, if we need them, we at least know those 22 know what to do. Now, we might have some young guys come in that will help us also, but let's make sure our guys know what to do when we come out of spring.
That's part of the reason he moved 3 offensive guys to defense, get them work on that ball. That's not saying they'll be defensive players next year, but at least they will have a concept in the back of their mind of what they're trying to accomplish. So he's thinking about the future as well. Drake with another carry. Reggie Ragland with the stop, the linebacker out of Madison, Alabama.
I also think it's interesting in talking to Kirby Smart and Nick Saban, one of their points of emphasis this spring has been we've got to get better and spend more time working against the fastball type offenses.
Why is it Landon Collins playing all the time?
We're going to rotate him with the 2 regulars.
Here is Sims off his back foot. Throws it to Drake. Now, Drake getting a lot of work today. The sophomore running back, Justin Fowler, who's coming off an injury, got injured early last year, has been practicing, but he's had that black jersey on, no contact, but he will be a key element. The other running back that has really wowed some guys, Derrick Henry, who was an early enrollee, had an outstanding spring practice, but broke his tibia late, not playing today. They say he'll be ready for fall camp, but he's a guy that comes in with unbelievable accolades, and brought it to the field here in his first run in Tuscaloosa.
Well, he's a big running back, 6'3", 235 pounds, good speed, difficult guy to tackle. And, you know, those of you that have followed Alabama, they've had great running backs and first-round type running backs, but they've also usually had two guys sharing the load. And I think right now their thoughts are Henry comes back 100%. He and Yeldon would be a nice combination for next season.
A lot of people disappointed he got hurt. None more than him, obviously, but from a fan standpoint, he came in with so many awards bestowed upon him. Matter of fact, I mean, he had a game where he rushed for over 500 yards in high school last year, which was a Florida high school record. So Sims moving the Crimson offense near midfield. Pass open underneath. Raheem Falcons, another early enrollee, the freshman out of New Orleans, makes a big play, gets it inside the 25, 37-yard pickup.
When you go against man coverages or man match coverages, crossing routes can be effective, and that's what happened. Somebody comes out of the pack, nobody is assigned to him, and crossing routes, guys get picked off accidentally, and that was good for Falcons, and a nice job by the quarterback finding him and hitting the open receiver.
Coach Saban telling us yesterday he's kind of caught the coach's attention with his work ethic, his ability to get open. But he kept saying he's still a freshman, don't expect a lot, but we think he's got a great future. That pass picked off in the end zone, and it's Nick Perry again. His second pick this afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Well, the guy made a red call. Is that not right?
Yeah, that's right, sir.
Well, then you're supposed to cut to the X.
Perry will pick up the interception and stop the Crimson drive. And Blake Sims, that's 2 interceptions.
Yeah. And that was after a great decision and a find and a read on the crossing route. That one looked like he threw into coverage. The safety was sitting back there. That's a tight window to try to fit the ball in. Nick Perry reading the quarterback's eyes the whole way. And when we heard Nick Saban, I don't think he was angry on the interception play. He was going back to that play they gave up. Somebody missed a call, somebody missed an assignment. We shouldn't give up a big crossing route play.
Yeldon with the carry. Adrian Hubbard, the junior defensive outside linebacker, makes that tackle. Hubbard, 41 stops a year ago. The junior out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. 7 sacks, led the team in that department. What do you make of Hubbard? I mean, obviously 11 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, led the team in that department. Is this one of those years where he's a showcase player?
I think he's got a chance to be. You know, he's got great stature, and that's the thing about this defense. They've got big-bodied guys, and he's got some length to him that I think would make him and can make him a real dynamic pass rusher coming off the edge.
Pass incomplete on the far sidelines, looking for Kenny Bell. And you mentioned pass rush, Todd, and something Coach Saban, Kirby Smart mentioned about the way the game has been playing. They felt like they got good edge rushing last year. Didn't get that push up the middle.
Well, the push up the middle is what disrupts a quarterback more than anything. Because if you have just rush off the edge but a soft middle, quarterbacks can step up, and offensive tackles are taught to take those guys out around the quarterback, and you still have lanes. And obviously Johnny Manziel is a guy that you don't want to give a lot of room in the middle of the pocket. You want to press the pocket and make him be concerned about the rush, and I think that's what they want to get more of this year.
TJ Yeldon driving for the first down marker, and let's see if he got it. Give him 8, and that should be good enough to move the chains.
Good job.
Thing that I was impressed with Yeldon last year as a big back at 6'2", 218, and he runs very upright, but he has the ability to make people miss in the hole. He has extremely quick feet, even though he looks like a guy that size and with that upright style, you wouldn't expect him to make people miss, but he did it game after game last year.
At the Alabama freshman rushing record, over 1,100 yards on the ground. Look at Cooper go. Out over the 20 to the 21, a gain of 9. And you talk about a guy who grabbed the attention of the country at wide receiver. It's that man out of Miami, Florida. Now a sophomore, the freshman All-America. Had 5 100-yard games. 4 of those came in the final 5 outings of the season. Into the first quarter here in Tuscaloosa. Back in a moment. The University of Alabama lost somebody special. The Southeastern Conference lost somebody special. College athletics lost Mal Moore. A great man who dedicated his life to the university as a player, coach, athletic director, passed away earlier this year. He will certainly be missed by anybody that crossed his path. A great man, and he will certainly be missed, but his legacy will live on. Bill Battle takes over as the athletic director, and Bill has some big shoes to fill, but if there's a guy that can do it, it is Mr. Battle.
Yeah, always enjoyed visiting with Mal, and their box was real close right across from our broadcast booth, and what a gentleman.
So from the 20-yard line, A.J. McCarron and company looking at a 2nd and short. They'll hand it off to D. Hart. Good to see D back on the field. That'll be a first down. D's had a couple of tough breaks here since he arrived at Alabama. He's had a couple of ACL injuries and trying to get back into the swing of things.
And he gives them a little different dimension outside of Yeldon and Henry, who we're not seeing today. But he's got a little bit more shiftiness to him. Little guy out of the backfield. He can catch the football and make people miss in space.
They'll play fake it to D. Hart. That ball is tapped in the air. They were looking for Christian Jones. It'll be incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 10 coming up. Geno Smith on the coverage. Geno out of Atlanta.
Geno!
I guess the coach wants to talk to Geno.
Geno! Geno! Drop Ripley's first and catch the guy. Too high on the guy.
See, that's what I mean. I mean, he's the head coach, but he coaches DBs. I mean, he coaches them hard because, again, that's his passion and that's his specialty. And so guys that come to Alabama, I mean, they're going to get prepared to play in this defense and prepared to play at the next level by as good as it gets.
McCarron comes near side to Cooper, trying to find a little running room. Gets it over to the 25 to the 26. A 4-yard pickup, but it'll be 3rd down coming up.
Well, Julio Jones is here today, watching from the sidelines. A lot of people beginning to compare Amari Cooper to Julio Jones. Big, physical, good hands, hard to cover one-on-one. That's lofty comparisons for young Amari Cooper, because Julio's tearing it up at the next level right now over in Atlanta.
As a Falcon fan, we're glad to have him. McCarron to throw it over the middle. Pass caught out over the 30. That should be good enough for a first down. Brian Vogler, the junior tight end out of Columbus, Georgia, with the reception. Give him 6.
So you can do the 2-minute part of it.
Now it looks like McCarron will take a break. He'll head to the sidelines.
It sounded like they wanted to take him out, let another quarterback come in and rotate in a little bit, and then when the time to run the 2-minute offense, bring A.J. back in.
Phillip Ely will take the snaps out of the shotgun. The pistol formation handed off to D. Hart. Phillip Ely, the sophomore out of Tampa, Florida. Hagan with that tackle, loss of a yard, maybe 2. You know, the 2 guys that got, I guess, that were locked in as the number 2 quarterback. Sims probably 2A, Ely 2B, if you will. And you can't have enough quarterbacks in this day and age.
Well, and they've got 3 freshmen that are all early enrollees that we'll probably see in the second half that all came on campus and are here and got the benefit of spring football. That's kind of become the new wave, particularly for quarterbacks, to get that extra spring and that extra semester of school. It can be really helpful.
Those guys, Cooper Bateman, Luke Del Rio, and Parker McLeod, the 3 early enrollees. Well, you look down at the quarterback situation. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 quarterbacks on my depth chart.
Well, again, it's spring. You won't have 9 in the fall, but you can have 9 in the spring.
Well, the 10th play of this drive, and it's only the ball's sitting at the 31. They haven't exactly gone very far, but nonetheless, 3rd down coming up. Here's Jones, spins out of some traffic, has a little bit of daylight, and C.J. Mosley in that black jersey not allowed to lay the big hit, so if he touches you, you're down, and that's what occurred there. So, punting situation.
A really nice play by Vinny Cincinnati. Again, playing a more normal, natural position for him at safety. Read this really quickly. Watch Cincinnati number 3 read it and come up quickly. He doesn't make the tackle, but he slows and disrupts Christian Jones enough to let Mosley push him out of bounds. But a quick read by Vinny Cincinnati made that play on 3rd down.
Cody Mandel will punt it away. Cody last year, 5th in the conference in punting, averaged over 44 yards per punt. The best average for an Alabama punter in history with over 50 attempts.
False start, 26 of the white team, 5-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
So Landon Collins whistled for that violation. They'll redo it.
Landon said, I've got 2 on me. I'm going to see if I can get a head start and split them. Did a good job that time.
Boy, nice kick from Cody Mandel. Sends D. Hart back to the 15-yard line. 58-yard punt. Maria Taylor's down on the sidelines, and there are some former Alabama stars roaming the sidelines. She caught up with one. Maria.
That's right. I found a Heisman Trophy winner, Mark Ingram. Mark, you got to tell me, you're teaming up with Coach Saban in a golf tournament, and I know he's really competitive. Has he already sent you a workout to prepare you for the green?
No, he hasn't sent me a workout or anything, but he told me to be ready, that he plans to win it. So I've been working on my swing a little bit for him.
Well, you're out here, you're able to watch some of the younger guys, and TJ Yeldon, he came in, tied your rushing touchdown record as a freshman. What advice would you give him going into a sophomore season?
Just to keep improving. You can never be satisfied. He's a special player, and I think he has a lot of upside to him and a lot to look forward to in his career. So I just tell him not to be satisfied, keep improving every single day, keep growing as a student in the game, just keep getting better.
And you're going into your 3rd season in the NFL. How would you characterize your pro career so far?
I've been getting better. My rookie year was okay. I had a couple injuries. Last year, I played every single game and had a little bit better year as far as production. So I just want to keep improving on that, keep getting better, and hopefully help my team win the Super Bowl.
All right, thanks for joining us, Mark.
Thanks for having me.
Really enjoy spending time with Mark. He's a good guy.
Well, I talked to him a little bit before the game down on the field, and one of the things we were chatting about is he is extremely happy to have his head coach Sean Payton back in New Orleans, and I think I like Sean Payton a lot. I think he's one of the great football coaches that we have right now, and I'm glad to have him back in the league as well.
You mentioned golf. He's going to team up with Coach Saban. That's always a difficult task for whoever his partner was last year in the Chick-fil-A Golf Challenge just outside of Atlanta. It was Johnny Musso, and they didn't do so well. So, Johnny, I guess you just weren't hitting enough balls on the range or something. So, but don't think Mark Ingram can't play. He won some junior golf events back in Michigan when he was growing up. That pass from Alec Morris out to Chris Black. Morris, the freshman out of Allen, Texas. Another big kid, 6'3", 230 pounds. Talked to Doug Nussmeier about him a little bit in our meetings yesterday. The offensive coordinator likes the size and the arm strength on Big Alec. Sits at the 29-yard line out of the pistol formation. They'll hand it off the left side. Kenyon Drake with the carry. He'll pick up another chunk of yardage out over the 40. That's a dozen more for Kenyon Drake, who's getting a lot of work today.
Nice job by Drake getting this ball to the edge. You don't normally see a Nick Saban, Kirby Smart defense give up the perimeter that easily. This time it looked like the defensive end who was responsible, Anthony Orr, number 53, got out of position a little bit, and they were able to turn the corner.
Drake was probably just thinking he was going to cruise along last year, and a couple of injuries allowed him to move up the depth charts. Big play down the sidelines. DeAndrew White with the reception down to the 20. They'll spot it at the 22-yard line. That's a pickup of 37 yards for the Crimson team.
Boy, a beautiful throw by Morris, too. I mean, perfect timing on the seam post. He hit DeAndrew White right as he came out of his break. Excellent timing right into the window there. DeAndrew White did a nice job catching the football with his hands and then getting right upfield for about 8 or 9 extra yards.
So Alec Morris bobbles the snap, loose football, and I think the white team may have it. So the good drive by the Crimson.
Alex, why, man? Could you make the handoff? It was a bad snap. Listen to me. It was a bad snap, right? You couldn't make the handoff. So why throw the ball to the guy? Just take the ball and follow him in the hole. It's play the next play.
Yep. Play the next play. That's a good coaching point by Nick Saban, and a quarterback has to learn. You know, if the play is dead like that, what he's saying is you just take a reverse pivot, follow the back, run right up in the hole where the play was designed to go, get what you can get, and maybe you got 2nd down and 9.
Instead, you have the opponents with the football at the 25-yard line. Ely back in at quarterback. He will throw, lofted up, looking down that far sideline for Kenny Bell. It'll be incomplete. There were some injuries at that wide receiver core last year. And if it wasn't for Amari Cooper, they may not have had much of a passing game at all in that regard. But now you get these guys back. They're healthy. And you keep saying you are what you are. And we have some numbers. I mean, they're very balanced. When you look at what they've done since 2009, I mean, it's about 10 yards a game separates them on average. But still, it's got to be tough to know you got all those weapons out there and not want to get them the football.
Right. Well, and like Doug Nussmeier said, you know, there's only one football. And so you can only call so many pass plays and maintain your identity. And like I said earlier, in this Alabama offense, a lot of the big throws, the big yardage throws come off of play action. And the only way play action is consistently effective is if the running game is legit. And so I think that's why Alabama will always run the football. They've got talented backs. Even though they lost 3 starters on that offensive line, they're going to have a good offensive line again this year if they stay healthy. But they'll find a way to work those guys in and create matchup problems with the depth of talent they have at wide receiver.
Ely under pressure, lofts it up. That pass is caught but then lost. Kenny Bell had his hands on it, and C.J. Mosley comes away with it.
Now, I don't get this. I understand a quarterback wearing a black jersey. How does an inside linebacker get away with wearing a black jersey? Does that mean you can't block him? You can't tackle him after he picks up this fumble? He's got a little bit of a shoulder injury. I didn't know we were going to see him at all, but he's been on the field the whole day so far, just wearing that black jersey.
He doesn't mind. Probably.
He can tackle you, but you can't block him, I guess. Man, that's a nice deal.
He likes those rules.
Yeah.
See those numbers, led the team with 107.
Very quick, very instinctive. You know, we talked to him, you know, are you looking forward to being an every down linebacker? He said, oh, man, I sure am. You know, and that's part of the reason why he decided to come back and play another year at Alabama. But the challenge for him when you play teams like LSU and Arkansas and Auburn, those teams that want to run the football, you know, he's not the biggest guy, and he's going to have to get a little stronger and a little bigger and handle those guys coming out right at him.
72, 5-yard penalty remains, 1st down.
CJ, you could tell he is one of those guys that Coach Saban told us. I asked him about how's this been this spring overall, and he says it's 50-50. I got 50% of the guys that are into it. They understand what it takes, and I got 50%. We're still trying to figure out how to do this with them, how to play at the level every day to win a national championship. But CJ's in that top 50%.
Yeah, he knows how.
O.J. Howard with his first catch today. There's the guy you were keeping an eye on, the early enrollee who could be a huge factor for the Tide.
He's got speed. He's got excellent hands. He's got length. He's never played the position of tight end with his hand on the ground or attached to the offensive line. So he's learning a new position completely. But as a receiver, he's got ability.
That pass nearly picked off. Landon Collins the sophomore safety out of Louisiana. Nearly stepped in front and had himself a pick.
Tried to go to Howard again to play 2 plays in a row. You see how quickly he gets down the field, and when you have that kind of a target with that kind of speed to affect the middle of your defense, that's really difficult, because you can put your best corners or your best 3 corners on wide receivers, but that means a safety or a linebacker is responsible for the tight end, and he could be a real matchup problem this fall.
That pass is picked off. Landon Collins didn't let this one go awry. Boy, and a collision with somebody on that Alabama sidelines was vicious. And he is being attended to quickly by the medical staff. But a pick six, or he thought it was going to be a pick six for Landon Collins. Instead, he's bumped out of bounds. We'll head back to Tuscaloosa in a moment. The first round of the NBA playoffs continues later tonight on ESPN. At 5:30, sharpshooter Steph Curry leads the Warriors against the Nuggets. Then at 8, it's the Bulls taking on the Nets. At 10:30, the Grizz head to Lob City to battle the Clippers. The first round of the NBA playoffs tonight on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN. Good crowd on hand here at Bryant-Denny Stadium on this Saturday afternoon with the white team led by A.J. McCarron leading the Crimson 10-0. But Landon Collins just picked up an interception, the 3rd interception of the day. Nick Perry has a couple, but a scary moment at the end of that play. Somebody on the sidelines, and we couldn't get a good read on who it was, not a player. Wrong place, wrong time. Let's go down and check in with Maria.
Yeah, guys, the man that was injured on that play is Doyle Shaw. He's the play clock operator. They're putting him on a board right now for precaution. I have seen him awake and alert and attentive, and they're just taking extra precaution as they put him on the stretcher right now, guys.
Thank you for that update, Maria. That was a vicious hit.
Yeah.
And immediately the medical staff attended to him as soon as that play was over. Well, as they attend to Mr. Shaw, we will take another break and come back to Tuscaloosa after this. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. We are back at Bryant-Denny Stadium at a scary moment. That is Steve Shaw on the left of your screen. He is the supervisor of officials for the SEC, the coordinator of officials for the Southeastern Conference, one of the best when he was between the lines as a referee. That is his father, Doyle Shaw, who was keeping the clock, as Maria told us. A scary moment. Maria told us that Mr. Shaw was awake, alert, as they were tending to him, and they're certainly going to take him off and get him some medical attention. But Steve Shaw, a guy that's very close to a lot of us, we see him all the time on the road, and we certainly wish the best for his father and the Shaw family. So we'll get back to action as the white team will be quarterbacked by A.J. McCarron, the senior, back on the field after taking a couple of possessions off. McCarron today, 7 out of 9, 100 yards. An interception now to go along with his 1 touchdown. Clinton Dix with the pick. And will stride into the end zone for the pick 6. There is a flag down. A.J. McCarron helping me out, pointing to the flag.
Yeah, defense was offsides. I think A.J. knew he had a free play and took a shot.
Number 49 defense, 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Ed Stinson got a little bit.
Man.
Yep.
Come on, let's go. Hustle back. Let's go.
But I think what we're seeing, we talked about early on that cornerback is a bit of a question, but safety is a position of strength for this Alabama defense. And we've seen that. Clinton Dix and Sinceri listed as the starters, but their backups, Nick Perry and Landon Collins, have looked really good as well. And so that is a position of strength on this Alabama defense this year, the safety position.
McCarron trying to set up a screen to Yeldon. That didn't work.
Quick read by Clinton Dix. After the interception that was nullified, comes right back on the next play. Sniffs out the screen and makes a big play. And I think the Alabama coaches feel that by the time we get out of spring and through summer camp, Clinton Dix will be a guy that everybody knows about in college football. They think he has a chance to be an outstanding player, all-conference type player.
McCarron in the pocket, going near side. Cooper nearly a one-handed grab. That's incomplete. We were talking a little bit about this balance on this team earlier, and the numbers are just incredible about how balanced. Coaches always talk about it, but look at those numbers. Hard to get more balance than that.
Well, and the reason that's so significant, and the reason that leads to winning championships, whether it's conference championships or national championships, is a great defense can only be great if they can make an offense one-dimensional. If they can take something away and force you to do what they want you to do. And when you have that kind of offensive balance, you dictate the game and you dictate what the defense has to do.
McCarron on third down. Gets it to Cooper near midfield. He'll be a few yards shy of the first down. That'll bring up a fourth down situation. Now, coming up at halftime, we got a few minutes left. We're going to visit with the national coordinator of college football. Rogers Redding is with us. We'll look at some new rules that will be in place. One of those is an ejection for targeting. We got some video. We'll break it down, explain that to you. Certainly that has been a hot topic and probably will be when the football season gets underway, and some issues concerning blocks below the waist as well. So get you a little primer for the fall as we visit with Rogers Redding. Cody Mandel trying to pooch this one inside the 15 and does so. Chris Black makes the fair catch, a 37-yard punt. We'll take another break. 2:21 to go here before halftime. 10-0 the white team out in front of the Crimson.
We're going to put the other guy in so you can go let somebody play. So the last 4 minutes, the clock's going to stop. Yeah. So you can do the 2-minute part of it.
All right. Did Miss Terry pick that new tie out for you?
No, she didn't like it, actually.
You got to love AJ. You know he's a senior and he's been around the coach. Most of the guys on the field wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But, boy, what a job he has done. And it's almost hard to describe how this program is run so well and flawlessly. I mean, there are issues. Let's face it, everybody's going to have issues when you have 100 guys on a football team. But what he's been able to accomplish here in a short period of time, beginning just his 7th season, is remarkable.
Let's go.
Well, and again, as we talked about the passing of Mal Moore, I mean, there was no greater decision or thing that Mal Moore did for the University of Alabama than finding a way to hire Nick Saban. There was so much changeover and lack of stability prior to his arrival, and when he got here, you know, he didn't win right away big time, but it was only a matter of time, and now they're built to last. I mean, again, they're recruiting year in and year out, and the team is built like an NFL team in terms of how they develop players and develop their talent, and that's why they have a legitimate chance to go for a 3rd consecutive national championship in an era when you're not supposed to have dynasties anymore. It's just not supposed to happen because of the parity in college football, the reduction in scholarships. Everybody has a chance to have the same number of players. It's not supposed to happen, but everybody's still kind of chasing Alabama.
The numbers, when you compare the numbers to Bear Bryant's first 6 seasons at Alabama and Nick Saban's first 6 seasons at Alabama, truly remarkable. And there they are. I mean, they're self-explanatory. There will always only be one Bear.
Yep.
The illegal formation, 5 players in the backfield on the offense, 5-yard penalty, replay the down.
You know, you had a chance to play against some Bear Bryant teams when you were at Penn State.
Come on, the clock's running. Let's go.
Were the teams, in terms of how they approach the game, the mentality, can you make that comparison between the two coaches?
You know, the biggest thing that I think is very, very similar is the emphasis on wearing people down and winning games in the fourth quarter, exerting your domination in the fourth quarter. I think that was a trademark of Bears teams, and that's definitely a part of this regime.
Formation into the boundary. Do we want the formation into the boundary? There's 2 formations in a row you didn't call right. Get us a penalty and takes us out of field goal range.
Well, Alec Morris, the freshman quarterback.
Second down, let's go. Call the play and let's go.
Coach Saban getting on his quarterback. We haven't mentioned, there's been some new coaches added to the Alabama staff. 2 of them on the offensive side at critical positions. Mario Cristobal is the new offensive line coach, was formerly the head coach at Florida International, played at Miami, was an offensive lineman, was an assistant at his alma mater. He takes over for Jeff Stoutland, who's the new offensive line coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. And Billy Napier is the wide receiver coach. He was at Alabama before. He was with Jim McElwain out at Colorado State last year, and he replaces Mike Groh, who's now the wide receiver coach for the Chicago Bears. So a little bit of change in that offensive coaching staff.
There's also a change in the bank account of one Kirby Smart, the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Got a nice little bump around the $1.2 million a year range for the next 3 years for Kirby, and made him blush when I brought that up. But hey, you make that kind of money, you got to be able to take it.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, this is an excellent staff, and you're going to lose guys to head coaching jobs as they lost Jim McElwain last year. Guys go to the NFL, and they're rewarding them. Not just Kirby Smart and not just Nick Saban. I looked at the numbers. Everybody on their coaching staff, every assistant, including their strength and conditioning coach, Scott Cochran, they all make over $300,000. And that's pretty good change for assistant coaches in college football.
Let's go!
Cody Mandel will punt it away. Christian Jones back at the 25-yard line. And Christian will make the catch. And they will whistle it dead. Well, this past week, this Alabama football team made their way up to Washington, D.C. President Obama welcomed the Crimson Tide team to the White House for the 3rd time in the last 4 years as they celebrated the program's 15th national championship in their big win over Notre Dame. A trip that was postponed once, finally got up to Washington, and Monday will be a day we'll always remember after what happened at the Boston Marathon, but all that took place before that occurred. A.J. McCarron back in at quarterback.
Yeah, well, this is the situation he wanted to be in. A minute left in the half. Try to move the football team into scoring territory.
Yeldon with the reception to the 35. He'll have a first down there for a moment.
Let's go, on the ball, let's go.
As a quarterback, this is one of the parts of the game that you love to be in. It's the one you really want to try to excel in. 2 minutes before the half, 2 minutes at the end of the game, get your team in scoring position.
Yeldon again, they'll dump it off to the sophomore running back.
All right, let's go, we got 2 left.
Gain of 7 on that play.
We got 2 left, right? All right, let's go, come on. In the huddle and call, let's go.
This, to me, it was the defining moment of A.J. McCarron last year. Most of the games they were ahead. He didn't have to make plays late in the game to bring his team back. He did not play well for most of the LSU game, but when it mattered the most in their final drive, he was on the money throwing the football and ultimately got the touchdown pass on the screen to Yeldon. But that was a situation on the road where A.J. McCarron really, I think, came of age as the quarterback of the Alabama football team.
Just watching that tape, and we've seen it a few times here this weekend, and the calmness about him, it just seemed, I don't want to say easy, but you go back and look at it over and over again, it didn't seem complicated.
Well, let's face it, too. Last year, they had the best offensive line in college football, okay? Even in that game against LSU, he still plays the game with a clean uniform. They don't knock him down very much, but he did not play well up to that point. He hadn't thrown the ball well. They had harassed him some, but he made the plays when he had to, and here he is in a situation right now. 34 seconds. Make good, smart decisions where you go with the football.
Dumps it off to Yeldon, who will get out of bounds at the 47-yard line of the Crimson. You mentioned that offensive line and this hurry up and late 2-minute situation. No more Barrett Jones up front.
Now, AJ, don't leave the clock.
How important in a 2-minute situation is the center in terms of that offensive line group? Everybody talks about the quarterback and all that. How important is the center?
Well, the center is important because the center is going to be responsible for communicating to those 4 guys that are flanking him, the other offensive linemen, on their protection calls, and if they pass guys off once the ball is snapped.
There's Yeldon with another reception.
Usually your quarterback and your center are kind of hand in hand in identifying the defense, identifying the front, making the initial protection call, and then the center takes over with those guys that he's up front with. Those 5 guys up front have to be completely on the same page. And for Ryan Kelly, the benefit for him, when Barrett Jones was hurt in between the time of the SEC championship game and the national championship game, Ryan Kelly got a lot of reps with the first team.
Yeldon with that handoff. Think he might have lost his shoe in the process.
Trying to get the first down with the running play.
Hurry up, on the ball. We only got 16 seconds.
Ari Kwanjo lost the shoe.
Timeout.
At first, Nick Saban was trying to get him lined up. And see, this is good for him, too. He's practicing his time management as well. When to use the timeouts. He had 3 coming into this drive. He still has 1. And you have 16 seconds.
Talk to him. We got to get enough to get a field goal here. We only got 1 timeout left.
Well, even though Cade Foster has a big leg, this is not a comfortable position right now to try to get that field goal. So you're looking at 1, possibly 2 more completions for A.J. McCarron, depending on how long he holds the football.
McCarron will send it near side and bat it in the air and picked off. The Crimson with the interception. It's Vinny Sunseri on the run. Vinny cuts it back. Vinny may take it to the end zone, being chased down by Christian Jones. They'll give him the 6. I thought they were going to spot him at the 1. 85-yard return for Vinny Sunseri.
Well, Vinny Sunseri made the interception, but Dion Blue made the play. Excellent coverage by the corner. Knew he had safety help coming over the top. He's the guy that got the deflection. And A.J. McCarron maybe got a little greedy here, thinking Cooper would make the play, but Dion Blue in perfect position got the deflection, and Sunseri was able to grab it for the interception.
So Adam Griffith will come on to attempt the point after. And that is the final play of the first half. And the white team will take a 3-point lead into the locker room. The annual A-Day game here at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. A gorgeous afternoon for some football as Nick Saban gathers his troops. And he is talking to his guys about what he expects in their respective locker rooms. And he will join Maria Taylor, and let's go downstairs right now. Maria?
Coach, we just saw you rally the troops. What was your message to all of your coaches?
Well, you know, typically spring games are a little bit sloppy, but we've had far too many, lack of attention to detail type, undisciplined type penalties and turnovers. We've had so many turnovers, which is just an indication of not taking care of the ball, not taking what the defense gives you. So we just need to pay attention to detail and execute better.
Well, the last play was a pick 6. You said one of your question marks was the secondary. How would you assess their play?
Well, I mean, the offense really hasn't done what I think they need to do in terms of their execution. I mean, we move the ball, but turn it over. So, it's good and bad, I guess. But they've gotten turnovers, which is a good thing. But I don't think we've played what we need to play the way we need to play it often enough.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Last year, Alabama was plus 14 in the turnover department. They had 18 interceptions, 11 fumbles. They've had their hands on quite a few footballs today. A.J. McCarron got off to a great start. His club leads by 3 at the break. When we come back, we'll visit with Rogers Redding and talk about some of the new rules in college football. Some of the stars of days gone by back in Tuscaloosa this weekend. Trent Richardson signing autographs. E.J. Fluker
That is a big man.
I was going to say,
he is.
You know when he's a
big man. Eddie Lacy, one of those powerful running back, just outstanding.
Courtney Upshaw also hanging around the field today. Kick taken by Hale. He'll bring it out. They'll spot it at the 30 as they just kind of run through the motions on the kickoffs here in the spring game. And the Crimson will have the football first. See who will get the call as the quarterback. They will bring out Blake Sims. Blake in that first half. Blake was, 4 out of 6, a couple of interceptions. One of them was a pretty bad interception, just kind of threw it up for grabs on his first series. Settled down, made a couple of nice throws thereafter. And Sims will bootleg it to the far side, and he will pick up about 5 yards on the play.
It's the way he started his first possession. Little bootleg action. It wasn't there. Made a good decision to run the football and pick up a couple positive yards.
Blake 5 out of 10 last year, 77 yards. And a flag has been thrown.
Breaking the huddle with 12 players on the offense, 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
Well, Coach talked about being a little bit sloppy, and he expects some of that in the spring game, but I think there was a little too much there in the first half.
Hey, guys, what's the problem?
If he sees too many more of those undisciplined plays, he might make them all eat beanies and Franks tonight.
Drake with that carry. Ryan Anderson, outside linebacker, will stop him after a gain of about 3. Drake, a guy that played in all 12 games last year, rushed for just shy of 300 yards. When Fowler got hurt, bumped him up the depth chart a little bit. Hart also banged up last year. But really a two-horse race, if you will, with Eddie Lacy and T.J. Yeldon. And Eddie Lacy was so good in that national title game. So good all year. Here's Sims scrambling around. They'll say he was touched at the 26-yard line. Dalvin Tomlinson, a guy they hope can make a push. Put a little pressure on Jeffrey Pagan at that outside end spot. And that'll bring up 4th down.
You gotta learn how to take what they give you, man.
Run off the field.
Let's go.
Cody Mandel will punt it away to Cyrus Jones. And another great kick by Cody Mandel. That will send Jones back to the 10, and they will stop the play, a 59-yard punt. We're talking about Eddie Lacy. Well, he's in the house, and he stops by to visit with Maria.
Thanks for joining us, Eddie. You know, I got to start by asking, you went from kind of being the baby brother to Richardson and Ingram to being a leader with T.J. Yeldon. What was the difference for you in this last season coming out to play for Alabama?
The difference was, I got a chance to sit behind those guys and, pick up different things here and there. And I got a chance to, add it to what I was already doing. And, it allowed for me to be very successful.
One question a lot of people have is, Coach Saban already has a stable of running backs, but he still continues to get the best prospects. What makes you, especially when you were coming to Alabama, choose this university, even though you knew you're going to be playing behind some great players?
Just being competitive. I was always competitive since I was younger, and, I was taught, if you're competing against somebody, you're making yourself better at the same time. And at that time, there was no better place to go than here because of what they already had. So I figured if I came in, I could compete and get better.
Well, the draft right around the corner. How's your draft prep been going, and where are you going to be on draft night?
This process is pretty cool, man. I mean, I'm doing a lot of things I've never done before, never thought I'd do. I'm actually going to go to New York with my family, so it's something to look forward to.
Thanks for joining us, Eddie.
Thank you for having me.
When I think of those backs, and we Talked about Ingram when he was on earlier. So Trent Richardson. When I think of Ingram and doing, you and I both have done a ton of SEC games, ton of Alabama games. I think of Ingram. I remember when they would get to certain points in the game and they would just put him in the shotgun and just everybody in the stadium knew he was going to carry the ball. Didn't matter. Still couldn't stop. He would wear a team down. I think of Trent Richardson. I would think of the stiff arm, and how powerful he was. And when I think of that guy, it's the spin move. He had a spin move and just a knack for knowing when to spin right as he made contact, and he always was moving and gaining extra yards. 3 great ones, that's for sure.
Boy, look at the running back selections. Ingram and Richardson in 2011 and 12. They go in the first round, but Sean Alexander was another one that was just electrifying.
Outstanding player.
How about the national championship game? And you had 2 guys go for 100 yards against a defense that was shutting down people left and right. You had Yeldon for 104. You had Lacey go for 140. As McCarron just sails that out of bounds.
Now you see the difference between how A.J. McCarron threw that one out of bounds well beyond the sidelines and the one that Blake Sims threw earlier in the game that got picked off that didn't leave the field of play. And again, that's something you learn as a quarterback. Sometimes the defense wins and you just got to take your lumps and go to the next play.
Just 4 months removed from that national championship game that was A.J. McCarron said in that game it wasn't one of the touchdowns. It was a pass play. They connected for 25, 30 yards early in the game on the first possession. And he said that was the play of the game because guys got back in the huddle and said, okay, we can do this.
Yeah.
And people look at the highlight reels, but they overlooked that play. But he felt like that was a moment in the game where Bama felt like we can do this.
Well, I know from my vantage point when I watched that game, when I watched them move right down the field running the football and score, that's when I thought this is going to be a tough night for Notre Dame, because the only chance they had was to defend the run. And Alabama went into that game averaging almost a little over 6 yards per carry behind that great offensive line, and Notre Dame didn't look like they were going to be able to slow them down from the very beginning of the game.
McCarron was 20 out of 28 for 264 in that championship game, and then you have 2 guys run for 100+ yards. Just a thorough beatdown in the national championship game. The game, you and I have talked about it, the game was the SEC championship game. That was played at a level which I had not seen in a long time in Division I football. Cody Mandel will punt it again, and another boomer from Cody off the right foot. That one will hit at about the 7 and bounce in to the end zone. You were there at the BCS title game, and it was all Alabama, all Alabama, all Alabama.
Yeah, it was at times looked like men against boys, and that was an Alabama team that came ready to play. They showed a little bit of wear and tear late in the season. They didn't play great against LSU, but came away with the win. They got upset by A&M at home, but boy, they came back. They had that game you mentioned against Georgia where they had to fight to win that one, but when they got to the national championship game, they were as dominant as ever.
Luke Del Rio will take some snaps now at quarterback. His first opportunity today in the A-Day game. Early enrollee. His first pass will be into the sidelines. Luke, the freshman out of Highlands Ranch, Colorado. We mentioned there are 3 quarterbacks that are early enrollees for Alabama this year. Of course, Del Rio, one of those. Familiar, I'm sure, to many of those football fans. His father is Jack Del Rio, former NFL player, head coach with the Jaguars, formerly, now with the Broncos as defensive coordinator. So 3rd down and about 9 for the Crimson team. Del Rio dumps it off near side. It's Trey Roberts, the sophomore running back out of Mobile. He'll take it out near the 50-yard line. Actually over the 50, down to the 48, a 30-yard pickup.
Nice job by Del Rio hanging in the pocket. There was a little bit of pressure coming, but he was able to locate his back on the crossing route. Had separation from the linebacker and a nice read. Sometimes you don't have to throw it far to gain a lot of yards. Throw it short, let those guys make yards after the catch. Roberts did a nice job with the football.
There's Roberts, hurdles a man at midfield, and he's tripped up. Pick up a couple of yards on the play.
One of the guys that they're trying to replace, we showed DJ Fluker on the sideline, decided to go out early. This is Big Leon Brown, a junior college guy, number 72, that they brought in, is battling with Austin Shepard to replace Fluker on that right side. He's a big man also, 6'6", 313 pounds.
Pass caught on the near side. That should be close to a first down, a gain of 7 on the play.
And we already talked about Ryan Kelly. The other guy that's going to be counted on right now is Ari Kwanjo, is Cyrus's brother, taking the place of Chance Warmack, a 3-year starter who is going to be a very high draft pick next week. Very powerful offensive guard. Be kind of neat to see those two guys playing side by side, brothers, on the left side of the Alabama offensive line.
Robert bumped at the line of scrimmage, falls forward. Maybe got some positive yardage out of it. You know, one thing Coach Saban has done the last few years, and I think it kind of gives his team a little bit of an advantage in terms of their preparation for the season, is they've gone out and scheduled a pretty good opener.
Yeah.
And this year's no different. They got Virginia Tech in Atlanta in their first game August 31st. And it really gives your guys something to chew on.
You got to play Cooper sometime now. These guys had enough plays. Put the other team back in and put Cooper in.
Oh, well, we get to see Cooper again. But this schedule sets up for Alabama. I mean, it's not easy. You got Virginia Tech, Texas A&M in College Station week 2, Colorado State, Ole Miss, and then Georgia State. But, I mean, as far as the first month goes, you better be ready.
All right, Lamb.
Well, that's what that first game does.
Twos are up. Let's go.
The good news for Alabama's schedule is you look at who they play on the other side, on the eastern side of the conference. No Georgia, no Florida, no South Carolina. Arguably the top 3 on that side. Texas A&M has the same kind of luxury on their schedule as well. So
Cooper Bateman back in at quarterback, and that's picked off at the 25-yard line. Tyler Owens, an inside backer out of Columbiana, Alabama, with the interception. That's the 5th pick by the Crimson Tide quarterbacks today. 10-7, the white team out in front here in the third quarter. Back in a moment. The Coach's Trophy, presented by Dr. Pepper, makes another trip to Tuscaloosa. The Crimson Tide will be looking to bring the trophy back to Alabama for a 3rd straight year next season. The season is already underway with the A-Day game. There's a few bucks right there between Coach Gabby, Trent Richardson. Look how big his arms are. Goodness gracious. Talking to a guy who might one day get a little bit of that as well. Derrick Henry, the freshman, the true freshman, early enrollee with the leg wrapped up. Got a plate put in there, but should be ready for the fall.
Well, I'm a big Trent Richardson fan now. I live in Canton, Ohio, so cheer for the Cleveland Browns. Like to see them have a successful season this year.
Loose football. Boy, these are the things that are just going to chew up Coach Saban. It's
Come on, man, we got to get the snap. Let's go. We got to get the snap. Let's go.
Parker McLeod, the freshman out of Marietta, Georgia, getting some work in this second half. You know, we talked a little bit, and one of the things that Kirby Smart's tried to do with this defense, and Coach Saban obviously involved in that in a great way as well, but they've tried to simplify things defensively this spring. It's been a topic of conversation among the coaches. Explain, as this pass is incomplete, what they mean by trying to simplify things defensively.
Well, I don't think they mean, it doesn't mean necessarily they're simplifying what they're doing. They're simplifying how they call what they're doing. I think that's the biggest thing, is they're trying to make the verbiage less, because they play so many teams now that play the hurry-up offense. With Gus Malzahn coming back to Auburn, with Texas A&M coming into the league last year, Ole Miss, Hugh Freeze, those are offenses that play at a very high tempo. They try to snap the ball on you quickly, and this Alabama defense
Leave him go. Just let it go. Let's go. Let it go.
Yeah,
he's the third team in here. Just let it go. Let's go.
But anyway, you play those teams that want to snap the ball. They want to get you out of position.
You guys are done after this play.
You have to simplify your calls, and that's what they've worked on a lot this spring.
Nice throw to the wide side of the field. Parker Barano with the reception from Parker McLeod. Gain of 19 yards.
Pretty good protection. Steps up in the pocket a little bit. That's a beautiful throw. You only have to have the 1 foot down. Little post corner route.
Nice little pitch and catch. I would be remiss, by the way. Understand you've got a little something going on. Word is out, and obviously I need a copy, but you've got a little book, you know, Taste of the Town's been a kind of a project of yours over the years, checking out food, but you got a book now coming out.
I do. It's coming out in September. Taste of the Town book. You know, we did it for 5 years. We're going to do the segment again this year. Did 4 Taste of the Towns here in Tuscaloosa, so I'm very familiar with the places to eat here in this town, but it's going to be a fun book. It's primarily a cookbook. We have over 100 recipes from restaurants all over the country, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But it'll be out in September, and you can get information on Facebook if you look for Taste of the Town and Todd Blackledge on Facebook. Get some information there, and
I expect to get a copy.
I'll get you a copy. I'll get you and Andre both one.
Thank you very much.
He likes to eat as well.
Oh, yes, he does. Oh, yes, he does. Well, the winner of this one, speaking of getting to eat, the winner of this game will get some steak tonight. Loser will chew on some hot dogs for a little while.
Regular guys back in the game. That's the quarter. Let's go.
Well, Coach Saban should do some TV. He just said what I was going to say. That's the end of the quarter. Let's go to break. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Major League Baseball coverage continues on ESPN. Sunday at 8, Carlos Beltran leads the Cardinals into the city of brotherly love to face Ryan Howard and the Phillies. Monday at 7, it's on to the AL East when Robinson Cano and the Yankees take on Evan Longoria and the Rays. Both games live on Watch ESPN as always. Continuing on from the A-Day game here in Tuscaloosa, we are now into the 4th quarter. And a running clock here in the second half. A.J. McCarron and company, first team offense back on the field. McCarron 13 out of 20, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 142 yards through the air. Fake it to Yeldon, come near side. And Mosley with the tap, and they will blow it dead at the 28-yard line. Harrison Jones, one of those backup tight ends, getting some action. But CJ playing today, but trying to avoid some big You see the brace on his right side. Got a bad shoulder.
Well, you mentioned Harrison Jones, the legacy of Barrett Jones not gone. That's his younger brother. And if I'm not mistaken, I think there's another younger brother that's a linebacker that is committed to Alabama. So the Jones family will be around for quite a while here in Tuscaloosa.
Yeldon picking up those legs inside the 30. A gain of 5. TJ Yeldon getting some pretty good work today. TJ now with 11 carries, 44 yards. Let me talk to you about A.J. McCarron. And obviously, a vital key component to the success of this team. A game like this, what does it mean in the big picture to a guy like AJ? I mean, is there a role that he needs to play today that can help him in the fall?
I don't know that there's that much of a role in today's game. I think this possession is an important possession because they looked really good early on, and then they got maybe a little bit sloppy, and coach didn't like the way that he threw the interception right before the half. So this may be his last possession of the game, and they get a chance to score here. He's done a nice job moving them down.
Where's he at?
I asked that question because leadership has been talked about a lot with him, and I just wonder if there's anything from this game that carries over, or if that's done in the weight room. And
I think what he's done in the 15 practices in the spring, in the weight room, in the off season, has more to do with his role on the team and the effect he'll have on the team than what he does in this particular game.
Nice play by Dion Blue, working on Cooper. A couple of ones going toe-to-toe.
That's excellent work. Right in his hip pocket, knew where the ball was, read the receiver's eyes, worked up through his hands.
Dion in his second season here in Tuscaloosa, junior college transfer last year, played a ton of snaps.
He's the guy who had the deflection on Sinceri's interception right at the end of the half as well.
Robertson, a tailback now for the white team. He'll get the handoff. Take it inside the 20, give him 4 yards. Alabama coming off that 13-1 season. Their only loss, and goes to Texas A&M right here at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Johnny Manziel, and it's amazing how much Johnny Manziel has had an impact, not just with Texas A&M, but he has had an impact in terms of how teams are trying to defend the spread. I mean, a lot of teams are game planning for a guy like him. I mean, it's crazy. Garrett scrambles out of some traffic. Throws back near side, and that one is picked off. Cyrus Jones, who got beat early in the game on the touchdown, comes back. The offensive player by Trey comes up with a pick.
Well, and the difference was this time he was in good position again, and he found the ball right away. Because he had vision on the football, he was able to stop and make a play underneath Kenny Bell. On the touchdown that he gave up, he got lost trying to find the football, and Kenny Bell slipped in front of him.
Well, the Stars of Tomorrow will be on hand Thursday night at Radio City Music Hall as the NFL Draft gets underway. Our analysts and draft experts will have all the inside info you need on every prospect, and will grade each pick made on the first day. Round 1 of the draft presented by Bud Light, Thursday at 8 on ESPN, also live on Watch ESPN. Handoff right side goes to Kenyon Drake. Kenyon today, his numbers: 7 carries now for 31 yards. At quarterback, Cooper Bateman out of Murray, Utah. Alabama had that great SEC championship game. They held off Georgia 32-28. The final in that one. Georgia not on their schedule this year. So the chance that they face each other will have to be in the SEC title game again. Pass caught over the middle by Raheem Falcons. We'll step aside for a moment. Back to Tuscaloosa in a moment. first round of the NBA playoffs continues later tonight on ESPN at 5:30. Sharpshooter Steph Curry leads the Warriors against the Nuggets. Then at 8, the Bulls take on the Nets. At 10:30, the Grizz head to Lob City to battle the Clippers. The first round of the NBA playoffs tonight on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN. A.J. McCarron, Amari Cooper, T.J. Yeldon all still in the game with 5.5 minutes to go here.
I think that has something to do with the fact that it hasn't been as efficient or as fluid as Nick Saban would like it to be, and I think he wants spring to end on a positive note for his frontline guys. And I think that's why we're seeing him in here with 5 minutes left in the A game.
McCarron trying to scramble out of traffic again, tries to send it to the sidelines, and he will do it. A.J. now 15 out of 25, 152, a touchdown and a pick. Kirby Smart liking the way his Crimson defense played that last possession. Cody Mandel with another punt. Cody's averaged 48 yards a kick today.
I'd say the defensive staff of Alabama must probably feel pretty good at the end of this day. I mean, I think both units, Crimson and White defenses, have played well today. We've got a low-scoring game against an explosive offense and a lot of turnovers.
Well, the stars of tomorrow will be on hand Thursday night at Radio City Music Hall as the NFL Draft gets underway. Our analysts and draft experts have all the inside info you need on every single prospect, and we'll grade each pick made on the first day. That's round 1 of the NFL Draft, presented by Bud Light, Thursday at 8 on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN. Well, the Crimson offense with the football. They are down a field goal with 4 minutes to go. That pass nearly picked off. Blake Sims has not had a great day today. Dylan Lee almost had the pick. Sims now 4 out of 7, 40 yards, and 2 interceptions. O.J. Howard with that reception, a freshman out of Prattville, Alabama. There have been some talented players come out of Prattville, Alabama. Sims showing some good speed to get out of that pocket, but nowhere to go, and he will underhand it out of bounds. He's had one of those he tried to get out of bounds today that didn't make it. That was picked off. Pressure came from a Michael Fanning.
The field was open, man. The guy ran into the damn X. Let's go. Come on. Huddle. Huddle. Let's go. We can huddle. It's incomplete pass. Get in the huddle.
Coach Saban.
When it's an incomplete pass, get in the huddle.
Work your hands, Christian. Work your hands.
So Sims will try it again. That handoff will go to Drake. Well, that'll be the end of our version of the A-Day game. There's still a few minutes left, but we're going to sign off from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Hope you enjoyed your look at what will potentially be the 2013 version of the Crimson Tide, the defending champs. For Todd Blackledge and the rest of our crew, I'm Dave Neal. So long, everybody.